And we are expecting a news conference from the Newark Firefighters Union to start at any minute. Now you can see officials gathering at the podium there. They will be talking about, of course, the two firefighters who's lost their lives in this terrible tragedy, that fire on that cargo ship. And we're going to listen in. It's actually starting right now.
Is everybody set?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming down. My name is Michael Giunta, M-I-C-H-A-E-L-G-I-U-N-T-A. I'm the president of Newark Firefighters Union. I'm here to tell you that late Wednesday night, the Newark Fire Department responded to one of the worst fires in history. Sadly, two of our own firefighters, Augusto, Augie, Acabo, and Wayne Bear Brooks, Jr., battling the fire, succumbed to their injuries. They were dedicated public servants with combined 25 years for the Newark Fire Department. They were our colleagues, our friends, and our brother. Firefighting is a family. The Acabo family and the Brooks family are part of our family today and always will be forever. Line of duty deaths affect each and every one of us on a daily basis going forward. We're not here today to talk about the safety concerns of the Newark Fire Department. At a later date, we will discuss that. We're here to talk about our brothers, Augie and Bear, so we can remember them going forward for the rest of our lives. There will be a time that we will address safety concerns and the issues behind our brothers' deaths. But today, we have to focus on our brother Augie and our brother Wayne. So at the end, we'll take any kind of questions, but I want you to know that this union is focused on the families and what they're going through right now. And with that, I'd like to introduce my vice president and personal friend that grew up with Augie from a little child, Eddie Paulo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. As you can imagine, past 30 hours in this Newark firefighter family has been horrific. Everybody's dealing with the grief. Everybody's trying to get through this horrible time. I'm the vice president of Newark Firefighters Union. My name is Eddie Paulo, E-D-D-I-E-P-A-U-L-O. But today I'm not wearing that hat. Today I'm wearing this press conference is to bring some attention, to let you guys know a little bit about the Brooks family and a little bit about the Acabo family. I'm going to shed a little light on my personal friend, Augie. Both of them were friends of mine, but Augie was a childhood friend of mine, and I'd like to take that mask off and just let you know a little bit about him, because the media's got a job to do and trying to find out as much as possible about both of the fallen firefighters. And I can't help but to think about, I got a text message from somebody saying, be what you love the most about who has passed. And when I start thinking about Augie, I think that's almost impossible, because they don't make him like him. He was tough as nails and sweet beyond belief. Augie leaves behind two brothers, João Acabou, Johnny, and Captain Michael Acabou of the Clark Fire Police Department. He leaves behind two parents, Mr. and Mrs. Manuel and Maria Acabou. He leaves behind a sister-in-law, Marley Acabou. He leaves behind a nephew, which he adored, James Acabo. Augie was all about the family. Augie, you can find him at any family cookout, any family affair. He would do everything he can to attend. Augie was an amazing friend, an amazing colleague, and that guy that walked away from any drama. That guy that brought a light to any somber moment. I could tell you right now, if he was sitting in the room, he'd be telling everybody, just smile, everything's gonna be all right. And that's the kind of guy Augie was. You know, in this profession, you Google the happiest jobs in the world, and and the fire department, firefighting, is gonna be at the top of the list. And that's because of a thing called brotherhood. And that brotherhood and sisterhood that we've been experiencing, getting tremendous support calls from across the country, from the president to police departments, fire departments in New Jersey and across the country, showing that brotherhood, showing that support. That has helped me and our brothers and sisters keep going. And at a later date, we'll go on with more as to what happened. But today, we want to share some information about the Acabo family and the Brooks family. Thank you. That's all I got.
I'd like to introduce Uncle Roger Terry, who is the uncle of firefighter Wayne Brooks, Jr.
Thank you. Good afternoon. And first of all, my condolence to the Acabo family. It's a very difficult time. I'm speaking for some of our family. I understand that Michelle may be caught in traffic, Wayne's wife, and is not here at this time. We're a real close family. You know, many of my children are the same age as Wayne. So I look at Wayne just not like my nephew, but he's like my son. And it's been a very, very difficult day or so. No one's had much sleep at all. And together as a family, we've been bounding and trying to make it through this terrible time. Wayne, he wanted to be a firefighter all of his life. He came out #1 in his class as firefighter. He's a tremendous athlete also. When he graduated from St. Benedict's High, he was one of the top fencers in the state. He always kept himself in shape, a real-life Superman. You know, the individual cared about all kinds of people. He could have had any job that he wanted in this region, but he picked being a firefighter because he liked working with people and helping people. And because of that, you know, we do know the dangers, and unfortunately, he's lost his life as a result of that. But I've heard it said that greater had no man that lays his life down for another. So I know for a fact that in heaven, there's a special place for him. Our hearts are broken, but as I indicated, as a family, we'll keep on moving on. You know, we're close-knit, we'll work together, and we'll find a way in the next couple of days, weeks, and months to get through this. Please, I ask everyone out there to continue to pray for the families of these two young men. We need a lot of prayer and uplifting, and thank you very much.
Michael Johnson from Ladder 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Johnson, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, J-O-H-N-S-O-N. I am part of Ladder 4 crews. Bear was a amazing person. Great leader, great friend, great brother. Loved his family. Loved the job. Very horrific time. Very tough time for us. But we're gonna pull through. He's never forgotten. He's touched everybody's life in his department. Amazing friend. Amazing brother. Excuse me for 1 second. Regain my bearing. He is a man's man. Loved his wife. Loved his kids. He loved the job more than anything. Respect his fellow man. Respect the fellow woman who came on his job. Wayne Bear Brooks, Jr., you will never be forgotten. Most definitely. You'll always be ladder 4. Thank you.
Captain Greg Meehan, also with ladder 4.
Hello. My name is Greg Meehan, captain of ladder 4. Wayne was one of my guys. Didn't think it was gonna be this hard. I could stand up here all day talking about every good thing there is about Wayne. Start out, he was son of a wonderful family, which showed through in everything he did with us at the firehouse. The way he cooked, the way he helped out, he was amazing. Understatement, amazing. Brother, husband, just in every regard, #1 guy. I know you're going to hear a lot of things as to great smile. Never found him without a smile. But all I can say is Mike, Soto, Tony, the rest of our crew, his name will be on our minds for the rest of our lives. There's no point where we're not going to remember Bear. He was one of a kind. As far as Augie goes, again, you're going to hear it time and time again. Upbeat, motivated, great individual. They were just taken from us too soon. Thank you very much.
This is Carlos Henriquez, who is a cousin of firefighter Acabo.
This is a statement from Augie's family. Augie had a special way of reminding us of his love, whether it was his big hugs before he left for work or a simple "I love you." Augie always made sure we felt his affection. In our grief, it is difficult to describe how deeply we love Augie. He is our world, and his untimely passing has left an unfathomable absence in our home. Augie's sense of honor was unparalleled, and he consistently exemplified this through his actions. Everything he did was about helping others, going above and beyond for those in need. He maintained a special bond with an assistant football coach from high school who was battling cancer, and Augie would often run errands and provide support for him during his treatments. We only just learned about that this week. Those were the little things Augie did for the people in his life. It was just the kind of person he was, someone who treated you like family. His infectious spirit brought joy wherever he went. At family parties, he entertained all the kids. As a boxer, he was over the moon when he spotted Muhammad Ali and posed for a photo together, pretending to throw a punch. Augie approached his work as a firefighter like he approached everything in life, with dedication and passion. His commitment to the job was unwavering, and his legacy will inspire those who follow in his footsteps. This is who Augie was. He would give you the shirt off his back. He was our hero, who we will miss every day and continue to love forever.